I may... I'll probably make a video. Basically, this is Dot Hack Fragment. For those of you who don't know, Dot Hack Fragment is a... it's kind of a fan product, but also Dot Hack Fragment came from the developers themselves, if I remember. And it was a game or a project to where people could basically play the Dot Hack infection games online. Really, the best way to say it is that they took all the assets from Dot Hack Infection, brought it over here, you know, the same, you know, areas, same server, same, like, servers and, like, the hubs that you go on for the different levels, same items, everything. It's just that you're able to play with up to 2 other friends going with you in various dungeons. And one thing I wanted to do is get a whole bunch of people online and play this, but nobody... really could for some reason get it working, or for some reason the very easy tutorial to get this working, which I was able to get it, but some people apparently ran into some issues, which happens, you know, there's 500 million computers in the world, and some things are going to mess up. So there's different modes. There's offline, which follows a storyline. This follows a storyline of some of the various characters from the anime. If you know the Dot Hack anime, there's some of the major characters that are inside of there. It's been so long for me, so I don't remember them. Online does not have a story. You basically hop on and you go grind with friends. You go do dungeons. You try to distribute loot amongst each other. Loot's all individual. So say if one guy gets a chest, he gets everything in that chest. So it's up to him to give you whatever was in it. Area servers kind of helps with the server management of things. If you're running a server yourself, which anybody can host a server, as long as they can get the port forwarding right and all that, people can join you and you can select any type of thing. So I actually hit online, but I'll kind of show some of the things with that as well. They kind of distribute or show off, hey, this is what the online mode kind of looks like, as it likes to load here. Basically, the setup for this game really isn't too terrible, really. There's a Reddit post out there. If you just Google up Dot Hack Fragment, you can find the subreddit for it, and there's a very easy to follow tutorial. That in the game's just a way bit too loud. We'll fix that just a tad. And from here, it'll say, hey, here's the current status of the server. The NetSlum people pretty much were able to give you some links and all that to figure it out. You press a button prompt to get rid of it, and you can get mail. The online mail isn't working for some reason. I had Monkey try to send me a webmail and it doesn't work. Offline mail though, basically this is all from the storyline. Data drain, it's me for the chosen one. And you also notice that there's some Japanese characters in here because this was never brought to the United States. This game was never brought to the United States, so it's not fully translated, but these guys have been doing their best to do that. Since it shows the same data, they can kind of go into both of it and kind of engineer backwards a little bit and go, okay, this, you know, this is exactly what it should be here with this kanji, whatever. There's also news, which just that test news category. This is pretty much where for the people running the server for the online mode can say whatever, Hong Kong Fui, you know, whatever they want to put for it. Now, when we enter the world, for those of you who played the Dot Hack Infection games, this is not the screen you'll see. It's just a low-level character I use just to play with the low-level people. Here's a beefy character. I basically hacked into the game because it takes forever to grind, so I'm not waiting for that. And here's my brandly new dude, which you can make you can custom make your characters. My own Wave Master, Blade Master, and Heavy Axe, because in Infection, for the main game, which is also off the show for people asking, that basically includes that you can make those characters that you've always wanted to play. You saw the long arm guy, you wanted to play as him. You saw the Blade Master guy, you wanted to see how he works in terms of a character. You wanted to play a Wave Master, you really wanted to be a caster, not a Twin Blade or the Heavy Axe, which I'm probably going to level this guy up and have some fun. So yeah, so I'll hop on this character. Those are all completely named Zoran. And from there, you'll see the very familiar The World login screen. As you go through its game's little story, you have to go to the bulletin board, read all the posts, get various keywords and stuff like that, and see the various plot developments that happen. I'll see online rankings, which I don't think works, I believe. I don't think any of this works yet. See, ties into Twin Blade 1. I believe this is all member. Yeah, it's all the server or the coder stuff. Because the bulletin board, all that, ranking. Guilds, I don't think guilds work yet. I have to double check. Guild list, shop list. My guild, create guild. The guild emblems required to start a guild, which I have to kind of look into that. But guild listings, all of them. Daybreak Mafia, couldn't load guild info. You know, if I can see if I can get that working or not, I can actually make a guild in this, which is kind of useless, really, because there's not a lot of people in this. Because as I go to the lobby, on the online section of this is all player-run servers. So lobby chat obviously has nobody. And people also get confused at this part. This is where all the players are that are currently online in the game, which is nobody. And it says, press triangle button to open the menu. I have an Xbox controller, so whatever I bind it to. Do area server list. And it'll say servers, yes, continue. And it'll give you multiple stuff. Now it seems someone else has literally just named this. Someone has just made name serve. So I'm not going to hop on it just yet because someone's apparently working on something. Because basically I've crashed 2 servers already because they'll occasionally like to crash, and that means these get away from the servers. The levels here will also tell you the range in which that world is hosting. There's level 991's in Net Slum. So if I hop here, which I know it works, the other 2 that were above that don't work. They don't allow me to connect, so I consider them dead servers. Either something froze or their connection's not good. So I'll hop in here, redirecting gaming, Dot Hack Fragment area serve, and I am now here. I am now playing the game. I'm now doing stuff. And I can go and see the status of my character. I'm level 84. I have all the sword stuff. It's my physical attacks, my defenses, all this stuff. That means my physical accuracy is good, my evasion is really good, I'm a good tank. I'm just not fantastic in damage, but I can still do some hurt. And of course, here's my skills up here. Cure poison, decrease wood element, just me buffing and debuffing. Jump down and strike, slash diagonally, data drain, in which all the characters get data drain. Every player gets data drain inside the online mode. Because basically in Infection, for the main story game, it's not this is a fragment, the Infection. The main character gets a skill called data drain. There's going to be some monsters you're going to encounter who are corrupted. And so it is up to you to data drain them to get rid of that infinite god collection thing they got going on and defeat them. So of course you can even buy various items. The recorder who would save your game, he's disabled. He'd even say that his job was taken. He went out of business because the game now saves automatically when you exit from the options. Watch out though, you might lose some data if you don't exit this way, which also is a good warning because say for example I bought a whole bunch of stuff and logged out, I didn't buy that stuff. So it wouldn't work. Fairy storage works, items, everything. You can buy all sorts of equipment that you want. And of course the gate, which you could switch between servers, no longer act that way. You can't switch between like Omega, Delta, whatever. What you can do though is do a random word and get generated like a level 19 or get something higher like a level 59 world. This is a fire world. I want to see if I can get a wood. Oh, that's actually level 81. That's actually might be a challenge for me because my character is fairly high level and I have some higher up gear. So from that, I'm going to probably die or struggle here, all depending, because a group of players can actually take on a higher level area. But if I'm going to solo something, I want to be in trouble. So here's that. Here's the world, and there can be roaming enemies about far into the distance. And this is my little singular character here. You can see all my stats on the bottom left and the mini map there, which I can toggle it about to see if it's closer with the L1 and R1 buttons at the same time. So I'll do the overview. Now, one thing before I get into combat, one very important thing that is required before you do any battle is set up your shortcuts. Now, you have a whole bunch of stuff. Thanks, Achilles. I'll get to you more because I'm actually going to try to make this a video on YouTube here. So sorry for people for local recording who hate stuff. I figured just do 2 birds with 1 stone here. That basically what you can do is shortcuts. Shortcuts here to where if I hold R2 and then like the triangle button or the X button or whatever, I will do an ability. This is very important because the only other way to do any of your abilities is to press triangle, go all the way to items or skills, press a thing, and that's what you do. And that is not good. That is not a good, efficient way to do it, concerning how much damage some enemies can do later on, or even early on. If you're a Wave Master and you can't cast a spell in like a millisecond, you're going to die because you're fairly weak. And for like general stuff like antidotes and restorative, you can bind that, but unfortunately, all of it is centered on yourself, unless you have an AoE heal ability, which will do everybody in a radius around you. So to do some combat, let's see if we die here. I'm zooming the camera out because it may be a big monster. It's a chest. Just like in Infection, if you see a blue chest, it's trapped. You even say it in the name. Which I can use an item onto it now that I have it selected, which you just select it by just looking at it. You don't press the prompt there. But if I do select it, it may poison me, may do some damage, something. I'm going to keep walking here. One thing I can also do with my shortcuts is if I remember what button I did. Oh, holy shit! All right. I'll start hitting this thing now. Basically, he's casting spells on me, and I have my shotgun bound to a healing item. So whenever I get hit like that, I'll just spam it a little bit, doing a special ability against him. Oh, I've been charmed. That's not good. Well, it's kind of good. That means he won't do anything to me for a little bit, so we'll just kind of chill. This is really... Oh, never mind. He can still hit me. I can still heal, though. It's fine. And also, one very neat thing about the combat is that if I ever do any special abilities, that he is stuck, but it also means if I ever get hit at the same time, I am going to definitely regret it. So, as a group, this guy is fairly challenging, but I'm high level enough to really tank all of it, and I'm rich enough to have enough items to not worry too much about it. Let's see if I can cast something on him. Nope, never mind. It's my AoE heal. Whoops. Come on now. That and monsters will also walk around a lot. Ah, shit. Because I'm charmed, he's just not going to hit me yet. There we go. Whoop. Wrong shortcut. Come on. Finish him off. Yeah, so if I didn't have any shortcuts, I'd have to stop, go into the menu, and possibly lose everything. Of course, I could have also data drained him to make it easier, but of course, the more you do that, the more you risk causing an issue for yourself. And just to show you the trap box thing, this is all that you do. It's mostly just a monetary, if you want to spend money to actually unlock things. And I have Resurrect, which is a very low, it's a useful item, but it's something I can't have because I have millions of them, so they'll just go away. Which is highly frustrating. But yeah, this is in general it. And if I do this to kind of bring up some points, I see there's a dungeon over this way. Now, the whole point of the game is to go around and just keep doing dungeons. You do dungeons to get better stuff, get better items and all that. And you also defeat monsters and get loot to increase your prowess and everything else. And this guy hurts just a little bit. He's null physically, so I actually cannot hurt this guy, which means I'm gonna have to run. There's a lot of these guys who are the same. There's one thing you can also do is there's little things here. I don't know if it's this or it's over there. Before I do anything, I need to check what I've done. Speed charm, okay. Ah, snake! Apparently it's a lady. Heal myself real quick. Oh, don't tell. Null Earth. That's an Earth attack. There are also weaknesses and resistances from every enemy, which is Null Earth. So that basically goes, nope, you can't hurt this guy with any Earth attack. So, and I got charmed again because everything has charm. Charm possibly in the Infection games and also in this is probably the most dangerous thing because if you have a Wave Master, that Wave Master is going to die 5 million times. Because from a game design perspective, this game was not really balanced well. Because mostly you're going to want somebody who does not rely too much on magic, which they can work, because Wave Masters can just one-shot things if you let them. Let's see. You have nothing to throw in. Actually, if I had an item to throw in there, I could kind of either bullshit them to get something here, and I'm going to... Whoa, okay. I'm going to do speed here. Just in case I have to run away, because there's a lot of enemies here. No. So I can leave. Come on now. Get out. No. Yes. There we go. Yeah, sorry, Soniska. I know it's a difficult thing typing Dot Hack in Twitch. But yeah, that's the online portion, in which to save, I need to exit server, do OK, and then I'll leave. And from there, I'm actually quite curious to see if that player who just made his server is actually in it. I doubt that he is, but... No, he's not. But yeah, you can make your own servers. You can even have your friends hop on it. Would have Monkey on, but he's currently playing Doom. So, yeah, I'll now show you guys the online bit. Or not the online bit, the offline. Because it also has a story mode, which I'm just kind of trying to speed run through it. Because I have a overpowered character, so I just keep running over. Is there an ISO hack of the PlayStation 2 game? Basically, the ISOs of this game, they have a cheat of it to allow it to do multiplayer. If you Google up Dot Hack Fragment Reddit, and you find their subreddit, there is instructions on how to get this working. And it's step by step, holding your hand along the way. So... if you're interested in getting on this, which I encourage you to, because I really want a lot more people on this just to see how it handles, that I would really like to have a ton of people just playing around this to see how it works. Because there's a question I've had for this game, which I can't honestly answer in this, and it changes the color here to like an orange if it's on offline. Which I will now switch to my level 84. That I want to know what happens if you have multiple people on this. Like, say if you have 10 people, because you only bring 3 people with you. Like, what happens to the other people? Do they stay in the original world when you teleport? Do you bring everybody in with you? Is it a cap of 3 people? You know, it's like, you don't know what to do. That, and also, here's the story thing. Here's Pyros and this guy. I forget his name, Ginkin. You probably remember him from the show primarily. Basically, with these guys, you get all these NPCs. So, say for example, if I want to go ahead and invite some people, I'm going to invite him, because I think, if I remember right, I need to invite them to my party so I can continue on a questing. Now, the issue, because this is not fully translated, is all of it's in JPEG. So, unfortunately, you can't read through all their demon speech. So, you're not going to be able to see what's happening with the story. But you will be able to at least get through it, because all you gotta do is just go by the prompts and just go to the worlds they told you. So world list, there's a check mark by there that's saying this is where I'm being told to go. So there's level 43. Let's roll. And you can also play as a Skull Helmet guy from the anime, because as you do your character customization, it takes all the models that were in the game and went through it. Now, in situations like this, to whenever you go into these types of worlds or these little story missions, primarily it's go to the dungeon, beat the dungeon, and then the story will just unfold from there. And that's what we're gonna go do. So see where all the stuff is. I'm also gonna speed charm myself. Now, one thing you can also do now that we have party members is that if I do, I think it's square, I can ask them to do attack skills, recovery skills, all that. So if I have a Wave Master and I really want him to concentrate on just doing, you know, healing, I'll just tap that real quick. Like, say, for example, whoops, let me just heal myself, I guess. well, I'm not hurt now, but still, if I asked them, hey, do some recovery stuff, I'd ask them to heal themselves, use their own items to heal them, all that. And also in multiplayer, whenever you come up to a situation where you have to transition through a dungeon, like you have to continue in through another room, you basically wait at the room saying, hey, let's go, and everyone has to go up to that door. You can't just leave people behind. So you all have to go together. And one thing is that just like in Infection, you will also have your characters talk to you and all that, but unfortunately I can't read the text, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna use the fairy thing to do that. And we'll now engage in combat 2. Which Fragment in of itself, in terms of gameplay, is pretty simple, but I'm kind of a sucker for games like this. And I think the best example, really, for how these types of games and their concept of, hey, this is a game where, also these wizards are highly annoying because they can just run around everywhere unless you use a skill to stop them. There we go. That it's the combination of you just get a group of your friends and go together, which the recent Monster Hunters, that if any of you have played that game recently, will actually get that feeling. That you'll actually get that feeling of, hey, I'm with my group of buddies and we're just going to keep grinding out this objective. And that's what Dot Hack is. The downside of it, though, is that it was all single player. But with Fragment now, you can actually play it with your friends, and it's also an interesting dilemma of, hey, this is, you know, like you play a single player game and you're like, I really want this to be multiplayer. Similar with like Dragon's Dogma with the pawn system. It's like, it's really nice that it's multiplayer to where you get to trade each other's pawns and then level them up yourselves or whatever. But it's really not fun to where, I'm trying to figure out it's this one. That it's really not fun to where you have this game and you know it's such an excellent concept for co-op. If they threw co-op in there, it would be an amazing game, which is why, you know, Dragon's Dogma Online exists. But it's in that situation where region issues kind of have a problem, because this is only Japanese only, and Dragon's Dogma Online is Japanese only. In fact, the last time I played with it is that they had an Attack on Titan event, which was really fun, which I have like a little short video clip on the channel with that, to where I got smacked by an ogre during the Attack on Titan event. So it's such a sad state of affairs to where when you're playing a video game and you know it's like, I could have so much fun with this if I had my friends with me. In which a lot of games will definitely be better with your friends. But it's really disappointing when you play a game knowing like this would be such an awesome cooperative game. Like you can still play it single player, but if it was co-op, my gosh, would it just be 10 times better and way more worth the purchase. But unfortunately, this is one of those games to where it just never got to that point, because I guess it was a situation of, ooh, he almost killed me there. So I guess it's a situation where it was just budget-wise not going to happen, because I'd have to pay for the servers, the support, which is probably why Fragment never got off the ground, because there's just so many better online games in terms of options for it. And this game, in terms of how it's designed, wasn't going to really work out. And of course, I'm skipping most of the stuff here. And continue down. So we'll see if we can get to the rest of this guy's story, which I keep pressing the wrong button. Wasting all my items because I don't have more money than God. I'm a darn dirty hacker who hacks his level to a reasonable thing so I can actually do content. But yeah, it's really fun, and I think the whole design of this game is to where you play the story mode just to generally grind, especially if you don't have anybody online. You just come over and I went to the wrong room. That you just hop on for the offline version, and then you just play with the NPCs and all that, and you try to grind through there. And then whenever your friends are on, you just kind of go, hey, you want to go play Dot Hack? And then you can just do it online. You know? Which is what I find pretty neat. No magic. That'd be terrible if I was a wave master. Because those type of enemies suck to fight. Let's heal us all up. And it looks like my speed thing went away. Let's go. And there's also the case of like Dot Hack, and that's a fucking dragon. And there's also a case of Dot Hack GU, which is the newest game, which also got remastered on Steam. And it still continues that tradition of, man, wouldn't this be great if it was multiplayer? And it seems like the developers who worked on this product, I don't know if they ever kept them original throughout the entire deal. It's a real shame that they never thought of, hey, we should probably... Oh, wrong thing. Is that we should probably, you know, make these multiplayer at some point. Unfortunately, they never did. And there's even other, like, types of Dot Hack games out there, like there's a fighting game and all that stuff, but I don't know, I see it as a missed opportunity, because I would see like a game like this to really kick off, because it's a type of dungeoneering experience that I like a lot. Like if I could honestly have like a multiplayer Dragon's Dogma, that'd be amazing. But I do encourage people who are interested in games like this to try and download them, you know. That I greatly encourage you to look into this. Just look up Dot Hack Fragment on Reddit, on Google, and you should be able to find everything that you need. Like how to access it, how to basically do everything with it. And there's that room, but I want to continue on through and get to the exit. Which looks like to be down that hallway. You get my AoE heal, and unfortunately as the main player, you also the dedicated healer. Even though the AI can kind of do an okay job if you just tell them to cast every time. And Vindictus, I did try Vindictus, and I do think it's an excellent game, but it's the type of weird game to where it goes too fast. I guess it's a way of that everyone tries to speed run through it, similar with Warframe. Warframe and like stuff like Warframe and Vindictus and stuff like that, really good games, like actually legit good games. It's just the nature of it is something that I myself don't have a personal taste into. And this is a little boss room here, so I'm going to heal everybody up. This right here, where you would want to buff each other and all that, and we're probably going to, yep, we're going to have the data drain. And of course, he's like, what sickly beast is that? They got wings and no underhead. And then we go off and kill. If I was the wavecaster, I'd actually be able to kill this thing fairly quickly. But because it's data drained and he threw trees at us, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. If I do that, I'll also slow it down because I'm doing an ability at it. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I can use skills and then data drain. In which it won't give me the cool animation, it'll just do that. And now we can kill this thing normally. There we go. And apparently it was weak to whatever element I did at it. And then and then it just and then we're done. We can continue on here, get the last item. And whatever it's gonna add to my key items, like cross added, rainbow card. Don't know what he's saying at me, but I'm pretty sure it's important in some way. But majority of this story is fairly there. Of course, that's it. And that's basically every plot thing. You go in, something happens, and then you leave. You know, with every single one. And once you're done, you can use an item to get out, which I think it's this. Spread Duck Arena. But yeah, I can definitely tell people, like, for being alone, like playing this solo and everything, unless you really like these games, it's pretty hard to swallow playing this alone. And of course, I'm trying to see if there's any other plot developments that happen when I warp in. Because sometimes when you warp in, a cutscene happens, and this is not this time. So yeah, this is the game, basically. And there's a message. Basically, to continue the plot, the NPCs will send you various... His name is Fool. That they'll send you various mails. And stuff saying, hey, this is plot development. Keep going. So yeah, that's Dot Hack Fragment. I encourage everyone to download this. I'm not ending the stream. It's going to continue after this. But for video-wise, this is the game. So I encourage everyone to download it. And give this a shot. Because I want everyone to play this with me. Because I find this really fun. I don't know, I have like such nostalgia for this game. It's pretty much what's being run off. The gameplay isn't the most amazing thing in the world, but if you work as a team and try to struggle through the controls, it's like excellent teamwork that is going like a fucking machine. So yeah. So yeah, let's see here. I'm going to exit this server. I'm going to go read that mail and continue the plot.